girls. Nauvoo is the place to be, and these people coming in are here for a sentimental journey. Hello. Hi there. Welcome to the Nauvoo Depot Museum. Okay, there's my cousin, Nelda Coxey from Bessemer, Michigan, and here is Doris. Last name again?
Perry.
Doris Baker
Perry.
And Jimmy Baker Smelter.
Yes, correct.
Okay. And Sybil? You are related to these gals? Come on in.
A little bit of cousin. We're cousins, second cousins.
Sybil and I are kind of opening up and kind of straightening up here, but what do you girls think about this museum?
Wonderful. Oh, it's amazing, Margaret. You've done a super duper job.
And we're proud of this one. We started off with transportation, how we got here, and then, of course, because of the railroad is the reason we're right here, because the town first started over by the Old Bethel area. And people were coming to the railroad to get their supplies. Well, they thought we'll just build right here so we won't have to take our things to sell over at Old Bethel. So that's the way it went. But all of our local churches and local life is all around here showing exactly how life was. And we've got the two old schools. There was a Ford dealership and garage here. Yes, it was Bart Coward, and he was here for a time, and people drove from everywhere, and he even had houses they could stay in overnight while they shopped, and had everything from cars to coffins to sell there. And then he looked for a more prosperous community, and he went to Haleyville. And I was going through town one day, and I noticed a building that said Coward, so I knew it was him. Yeah. All right. And the churches, we've lost that one. But anyway, there's so much. Let's just go on. Jim, that's okay, hon. The big event was the short quads that were born in 1940.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
No, I remember it, and grandmother was there living with them, and it was way back in the country. It was bad roads. There was ruts that if you didn't stay in the ruts, you got stuck, and you know they were deep and muddy, and it had rained a lot. The grandmother was there, and he delivered the first baby, and he said, hand it to grandmother, and she put one safety pin on it. They delivered the next one, and she put two safety pins on the next one. And the third one, she put 3. And when the little boy was born last, he didn't need any safety pins. They
could identify him.
She went over there and helped them, and they heated bricks and put them in a box and put blankets above it and got them to the hospital that night.
Yes, they were so tiny.
Oh yes. Well, I can't remember if all 4 of them came home or just the 3 came home from the hospital.
3 came home. One of the little girls died within the first 3 weeks.
Yes, Hope she was the lowest birth weight too. I remember that. And this is Ernie Pyle, the famous columnist in the 1940s, and he came all the way out to Nauvoo to interview Dr. Sankey. And I know that he is buried in Hawaii. He was killed as a war correspondent. And we were on a tour once, and they mentioned Ernie Pyle's here, and I went, whoa. Know about Ernie Pyle, and that's Hamilton Motors. Now, Sybil, that was a local man. What was his? I have it on there somewhere.
Mr. Hamilton, Mr. Lee Hamilton had those motors.
And he had a dealership in town.
It really put Nauvoo on the map for a while. A lot of excitement in the air, and a lot of pictures in the paper, and all. And Dr. Sankey, back then they didn't have multiple births very often.
No, this was.
And it was next to the quintuplexes of
in Canada.
Canada, right. And we thought we were going to be famous for these 4 babies being born here.
Yeah, the Dion.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
In Canada, but unfortunately,
When that one baby died, that ruined it all, for being famous. But they all grew up and went to school here and graduated from Nauvoo Junior High. Later moved over to Hueytown in Birmingham.
it was just a shame because they lost all their milk endorsements and that kind of thing because there were no longer quads. But the local people really rallied around them.
Built them a home up here in town. They had a nice home, and they had better provisions than they had when they lived in the country.
Well, and for people that don't know, they had 6 older children, was it?
Oh, yes, they had several other children. Yes, a house.
10.
Oh, my God. Yes.
People had volunteered for those babies. And they built a room at the house with a glass wall where people could go and see them and see the workers in there. And we went to see them, and it was something to us,
Well, other communities tried to get them, too. They offered to build them houses.
Wanted them to move to Jasper. They would have built them a house and took them in Jasper. Everybody wanted them. Yeah, that was, yes, it did. It was sad.
Oh, my. And a lot of these photos that we are lucky to have because of this man right here, Mr. Sumner. He not only had the grocery store out in Slick Lizard, but he was a local photographer. Girls, this is a replica building, of course. As you remember, this one was torn down in 1958. And this replica was completed in 1997 thanks to Mitchell McDaniel. And this pot-bellied stove was donated. Now, Sybil, right here is this treasured old picture, and show us where you are.
Well, I live near the water tank, and this first one is me, and the next one is my first cousin, Nelma Northcutt, and the other one is Betty Holland, which we were very close like you girls were growing up.
The bench in the other room was donated out of this Carbon Hill Depot in the 1890s. This, of course, is the painting that our Mike did for me in 1988, and it was a Christmas surprise. And I sent it to the Mountain Eagle, and Lonnie McNutt used to work here years and years ago, and as it turned out, he lived in Marietta, and some of his friends told me that, so I looked him up, and he came over, and we got that nice photo, and enjoyed his friendship, and he would call me and say, "How are things in Slick Lizard today?" And I knew it was Lonnie McNutt. In fact, we have a picture of him. If it isn't faded out, we're going to have to be replacing things, but I'm afraid it's not here, but we'll show it because Larry will have it. That's what he was saying. All right. And the next room is... Now, this would have been the waiting area. And in this one, I put Nauvoo people making a difference and the service to the community and to the country. And this is most interesting in here because we had some dynamite men from here. And it was just a coincidence because Jack Rubley, Paul O'Mary, and we have our Sam Hyde. These guys, born that year, and went on to these stellar careers in the military. Paul O'Mary was in Berlin when the wall went up. And he, in fact, right here, he was very proud of this one because this award that he got the Distinguished Service Medal, the Army's highest award for extraordinary achievement in positions of great responsibility. Colonel O'Mary is one of only 6 persons below general officer grade to receive this high award since it was authorized by an act of Congress in 1918. And Jack Rubley was on the detail. Jack Rubley was on, he was in charge of White House communications under Eisenhower and Kennedy and Johnson. So there he is with President Kennedy, and they were in Berlin, and maybe that was in the 60s. But anyway, they were in Berlin, and these two guys happened to see each other. Hadn't seen each other in years. And so it was just a great time because Paul was eventually sent to the Pentagon. And, of course, local people, we couldn't believe that. Here we have a Nauvoo boy in the Pentagon. And then he ended up his career in Tuscaloosa University of Alabama, and he was in charge of the ROTC program. And did a fabulous job. And, oh, my gosh, this man, you just can't give him enough accolades. But we love these old photos. We have more photos of Jack Rubley because of his position. And in fact, he was in Dallas when Kennedy was shot. He was there because he had to sign off on a new special agent or something. That's why he was there. But because of his name, he scared everybody to death because people hearing the name Jack Ruby, even his mother called his office and said, "Why did they make Jack kill the president?" And when he went to the airport, it was just unbelievable. But we have Jack with President Eisenhower, a picture of him, President Eisenhower, and President Johnson. So these are treasures, but because of his position, we have these great photos. And here is Jack Rubley with Bernie. She was Bernie Johnson. And communication in those days, it was not like today. And what Jack did was install kind of shortwave kind of things at their home in Washington. And then he was able to kind of splice in, and his guys could get messages home, and talk. And there's Bernie, cute as she could be. And this, Jack loved this because when there's Kennedy, and that is Bear Bryant and his team when they won one of the championships. And here is Jack. And I always protected that picture, and every time I had it copied, it worried me. But yet now, Larry said it's on the internet, and they have just cut Jack off because he was the one that was not notable, And here is our Bernie. And they visit us. We went to Florida to visit them at home, and he just did many things, and he was really proud. He was sent down to Brazil when they were starting a new capital, Brasilia, and he went down to help them with their communications, and they had given him a medal, and he was really proud of all that. And, this one, we're just so happy to have this because Paul O'Mary's Bill O'Mary, that we call Slim, he was in the military with Mel Tillis. And they played in a band. They called themselves the Statesiders. And that whole group, and it shows one of their reunions, and we were just really happy to have that. And Slim was the inspiration of Detroit City because they wrote the song, him saying he didn't like it there, wanted to go back to the cotton fields of home. Right. He was the inspiration for that song. So we're just happy to have that. And of course, Germans, Peggy German up there, and the Clowers, they played at our first car show. And then there's a photo up there, and some of them of ball players here in town. But of course, Ben Sankey went farther than anybody because he made it to the majors. We were really proud of him. So girls, we had some great people out of Nauvoo.
I really didn't realize that you had so many well-known people from this little small town of Nauvoo.
Those three guys that were born, I think, but now Gene McDaniel's brother became a colonel too. So we had 4 colonels, and it's more difficult to attain that designation, to attain that in peacetime. You know, in war time, it's easier, I guess, to climb up the ladder.
Who were the 4 colonels? Bobby's one, you know.
Oh, Apollo Mary, Sam Hyde, Jack Rubley. Okay. Yes, sir.
Tuesday sent Jack brought James the book that he wrote. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No.
I've got his book. James was a good friend of his.
Yes.
And they went in the army. They came out, went to college, got a degree, and that's where they all come from Nauvoo.
Well, Paul O'Mary was exceptional, though. He was valedictorian. Yes. Yes. He was. Well, you could say he was brilliant.
If it hadn't been for the Hydes, they helped them. You know, the Omrys lived next door to them. Sam Hyde's mom and dad lived next door to the Omrys there on that road.
Yeah. Yes. It was. It's amazing. And you could imagine the stories that Jack Rubley told.
Sam, he just passed away and Judy died last year.
He was the last one to go. What do you think of it?
Well, I think it's wonderful. I was amazed of all what you have done here to the depot, and it's wonderful to capture Nauvoo's legacy and the history. It's wonderful what you've done.
Just treasures. This is the coconut that he wrote that message on. Yeah, that coconut. Shirley Tidwell is a local artist, and Sybil is very dear friends of hers, and we can never thank her enough for this wonderful thing. Tell a little bit about Shirley.
She's done all kind of paintings. She painted the baptistry at Ashbank, and she's done a lot of portraits of people, and she's done lots of paintings. She does beautiful work.
It was fortunate for us that she lives in the community and a native of Nauvoo.
Yes, she is.
Okay. And this bench came out of the Carbon Hill Depot, donated to us, and this is a treasure that we're really pleased about. Let's look at a few of one of the big things. One of the big happenings. Most of them came in ox wagons, because oxen were less expensive, they were sturdy, and these were poor people, and it was all farming, of course. And this picture is a treasure because this is Erlene McDaniel's father up here. No, the little boy over that man. That's her father. And this picture here, it's hard to read that far up, but this is some of the cook girls, and they're visiting cousins from Scotland. And it's amazing. Now, Jean Catherine Dillon did the cookhouse. She was in charge of that and got it on the State Historical Register. And everybody was so proud of that. And the McDaniels, the hotel, the Harbin Hotel, is also.
Were the cooks originally from Ireland?
No, Scotland. Oh, yes. Their father came. I can't remember how many. Well, I think they were newlyweds. And it's amazing because they knew when they came, that took a lot of courage. When they came, they knew they would never see those folks again. Now, this is a great picture because it shows, now this is the Martin that was a mail carrier, and what a treasure, because this is the way the mail came, and look at all those packages from Sears Roebuck. This one is Dr. Sankey, and they came about 1904, and these are his 4 children. I think that was a little neighbor boy. And I think that was Boots. And Ben, he later became a Pittsburgh Pirates baseball player. And then he was traded to Montreal. And when they moved back here after, I don't know if his career ended or what, but when they came back to Nauvoo for a time, they lived here in town. And the teachers were so impressed because their children could speak French. And these 2 ladies, well, I'm thinking, Sybil, do you recall if one of these, yeah, I remember. So this would be Francis. These pictures are absolute treasures, and that's the house. It's gone now. But Dr. Sankey was a company doctor, and he stayed after the mines went under.
I fell, and Dr. Sankey put a clamp right there in that big cut on my forehead.
Oh, and there wasn't much medication, was there?
A big clamp, not stitches, a big clamp. You can still see that scar? That's right.
And he left town. Well, that car is not the first one, but he had the first car. And it was a runabout. And I can't remember now, but it was delivered from Detroit by rail car. And I don't know if it was the runabout or that one, because Nauvoo had a Ford dealership and service garage.
James and Bobby Engel, he delivered my twins in 1948, October, and he retired later. And that's the last he delivered.
That's right. They moved to Birmingham. Their eldest daughter lived there then, and they retired. So Nauvoo didn't have a doctor, and I can remember. Can you remember everybody telling us, "Be careful, because Dr. Sankey isn't here anymore," and we would have to go to Carbon Hill, and sure enough, Dew cut his toe.